Thank you. I will now recognize Mr. Subramanyam for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think everyone agrees this is an incredibly difficult, complex, but important problem we have to solve. And I think it's affecting 27 million people, I think last I saw, across the world. I really appreciate all the work that this panel is doing to combat it using cutting-edge technology. But I'm very concerned right now by what's going on in this administration with gutting so many different federal grant programs and so many different offices that fight trafficking across the world and across our country. And, I'll just read out some of these: the Department of State, the Department of Justice, the Department of Labor, Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Homeland Security have all cut funding or programs or people working on trying to fight human trafficking. And I think there's 69 international programs aimed at combating child labor, forced labor, and human trafficking that were terminated. 70% of the workforce at the State Department's agencies in charge of monitoring and combating trafficking was cut. The Department of Labor cut $500 million in grant programs for programs used to combat trafficking. And I can keep going, but you get my point. Mr. Austin, is it waste, fraud, and abuse to cut all these programs? Are we cutting waste, fraud, and abuse by doing that? What are we accomplishing by cutting these programs?
We're hurting the effort to actually try to stop human trafficking. We are moving resources where they don't need to be, such as nonviolent immigrants, when we really need enormous resources if we're actually going to do something about human trafficking.
One of the grant programs was aimed at training law enforcement on investigating trafficking, particularly involving people with disabilities. Could you explain the importance of that? That was cut as well.
I mean, it's enormous because people with disabilities are particularly vulnerable to trafficking. And so you need to have programs that actually meet the needs. So understanding the needs, understanding the type of people who are being trafficked, you must have programs that actually dig into that and answer those questions. You can't do this work through just technology. You have to have humans. You have to have human beings who are actually making the evaluations. You have to know the types of people who are being trafficked and the people who are doing the trafficking.
I'm trying to make the argument for why they would cut these programs. Perhaps maybe the government shouldn't be involved in fighting human trafficking. I don't know. What are your thoughts on what's the impact of cutting both these programs as well as we've cut jobs for technologists across the federal government, and we're now having trouble recruiting and retaining technologists as well. So we're talking about the intersection of technology and fighting trafficking. Right now, we're not going to be doing a very good job in the federal government on this. Could you explain to me sort of what the role should be? What should we be doing as a federal government to fight trafficking?
No, as a federal prosecutor, we needed more resources. We needed more information. We needed more NGOs who could provide us with information. We needed more technologists who could help us with these things. If we really and truly care about these issues, our budget really determines what we care about. And right now, what our budget is saying is that we really don't care about these things and that we're going to allow them to happen, which is really problematic after hearing the unbelievable testimony from my fellows on this panel. We need to be putting more effort into this, and right now we're putting less.
Did I miss any programs that were cut that you think are worth highlighting?
The entire Civil Rights Division.
Tell me more about that.
I mean, we had the Human Trafficking Protection Unit under the Civil Rights Division. It was moved, but it was never big enough. It belongs in the Civil Rights Division. The work that it does in schools, the work that it does on housing, the work that it does on employment are all relevant to the fight against human trafficking. And you dismantle the Civil Rights Division and you dismantle one of the main tools that could be used to help survivors.
I request unanimous consent to enter into the record September 17, 2025 article titled "Revealed: Trump Administration Retreats on Combating Human Trafficking and Child Exploitation."
So ordered.
And so I think if we're going to actually take this problem seriously, then we are going to have to put some funding and put some good people and behind this effort to combat trafficking. I love the idea of using technology to address this issue. We should use technology, we should use human beings, we should use partnerships with law enforcement at local, state level, and around the world. This is an all-hands-on-deck effort that we will need to fight trafficking, but we're not going to do it if this administration continues to retreat on combating human trafficking and child exploitation. I yield back.